The Memory Thief. Chapter 1: The First Theft. The woman in room 237 doesn't remember her name. She sits on the edge of the hospital bed, staring at hands that feel foreign, at wedding ring that means nothing. The doctor says she was found 3 days ago in Central Park, wandering in circles, speaking a language that doesn't exist. Tell me about the last thing you remember, Dr. Sarah Chan says, pen poised over her notepad. The woman closes her eyes. Behind her lids she sees fire, screaming, and a man with silver eyes who whispers, "Your memories are mine now." She opens her eyes. I remember dying. Dr. Chen's pen stops moving. But here's the strange part. The woman continues, her voice gaining strength. I remember dying as someone else. 2 blocks away, Marcus Rivera receives a text that changes everything. Your wife isn't who you think she is. Room 237, St. Mary's Hospital. Come alone. A friend. Marcus stares at the message. His wife Elena is at home making dinner. He just kissed her goodbye 20 minutes ago. But something cold crawls up his spine because Elena has been acting strange lately, forgetting things, speaking Spanish words she claims not to know, waking up screaming about places she's never been. He calls home. No answer. He calls again. Straight to voicemail. Marcus is already running toward his car when the second text arrives. She's been stealing more than memories. Check your bank account. Chapter 2. The Impossible Patient. Dr. Chan has seen amnesia cases before. She's never seen one where the patient knows things she shouldn't know. What's my daughter's name? She asks the woman in room 237. Emma. The woman says without hesitation. She's 7 years old, has a birthmark shaped like a crescent moon on her left shoulder, and she's afraid of butterflies because when she was 4, one landed on her ice cream and she thought it was poisoned. Dr. Chen's blood turns to ice water. She's never mentioned Emma to any patient. Emma's birthmark is covered by her school uniform. And the butterfly incident. Dr. Chan has never told another living soul about that. How could you possibly know that? The woman smiles, and for a moment her eyes flash silver. Because I've been inside your dreams, Sarah. I know you wake up every night at 3:17 a.m., terrified that Emma inherited your mother's schizophrenia. I know you count backwards from 100 in Mandarin to fall back asleep. I know you've never told your husband about the pregnancy you terminated when you were 23. Dr. Chan drops her notepad. That's impossible. Is it? The woman stands, moving with fluid grace that seems wrong for someone who supposedly can't remember her own name. Memory isn't stored in just one place, Sarah. It ripples through everything we touch, everyone we meet. Some people learn to swim in those ripples. Others learn to steal them. A knock at the door interrupts them. A security guard enters. Dr. Chan? There's a man here claiming this woman is his wife. Says his name is Marcus Rivera. But here's the weird part. He says his wife is also at home right now. Chapter 3. The Man Who Married a Ghost. Marcus Rivera stands in the hospital hallway, looking through the window at a woman who is simultaneously a stranger and the love of his life. She has Elena's face, Elena's hair, Elena's scar from the car accident when she was 16. But when she looks at him, her expression is blank as fresh snow. I don't know you, she says when he enters the room. But Dr. Chan notices something Marcus doesn't see. The woman's pupils dilate when she looks at him, and her breathing changes. Her body recognizes him even if her mind claims otherwise. Elena, it's me. Marcus. We've been married for 6 years. We live on Maple Street. You work at the art gallery downtown. You make terrible coffee but amazing lasagna. You have a birthmark on your right hip, she finishes, touching the spot unconsciously. Shaped like a butterfly. Hope flares in Marcus's chest. Yes. You remember. She shakes her head slowly. I don't remember. I just know. Like how I know Dr. Chen's secrets. Or how I know there's a hidden room in your basement that you've never shown your wife. Marcus goes white. How could you possibly? Because I'm not the only one with stolen memories, she says. The question is, Marcus, which one of us is real? Before he can answer, Dr. Chen's phone buzzes. A text from her babysitter. Emma's missing. She was in her room 5 minutes ago. Her window is open. There's something weird though. She left a note. Says she went to find the butterfly woman. Chapter 4, The Collector. In a warehouse across the city, a man with silver eyes watches security monitors showing feeds from the hospital, from Marcus Rivera's house, from Dr. Chen's neighborhood. He calls himself the Collector, though that wasn't always his name. Names like memories are fluid things. Temporary. But the hunger, that's permanent. On his desk are hundreds of glass vials, each one glowing with a soft pearlescent light. Memories crystallized and purified. Each vial represents a life partially hollowed out. Experiences stolen and stored like vintage wine. He picks up a vial labeled Elena Rivera Wedding Day and holds it to the light. Inside, he can see the swirl of joy, love, terror, and hope that made up that perfect August afternoon. He's sampled this memory dozens of times, tasting Elena's emotions like a sommelier savoring rare vintages. But now Elena, or the thing wearing her face, is causing problems. She should have remained empty, compliant, a perfect vessel for whatever memories he chose to pour into her. Instead, she's remembering things that were never hers to begin with. The Collector opens another vial. This one labeled, Sarah Chan Medical School Graduation. He drinks it in one gulp, and suddenly he knows everything about neurology, about memory formation, about the specific way Dr. Chen's mind works. Now he understands the problem. Elena isn't just a victim. She's becoming something new. A memory thief like himself, but uncontrolled, wild, dangerous. His phone rings. A child's voice, sweet and terrified. Are you the butterfly man? I need to find the butterfly woman. She has my mommy's dreams. The Collector smiles. Where are you, little one? I'm in the park where she was found. There's something here. Something that looks like a door but isn't a door. It's humming. The Collector's smile fades. Don't go near it, Emma. Stay exactly where you are. I'm coming to get you. He hangs up and begins gathering specific vials. If Elena is accessing the memory nexus, the place where all stolen thoughts eventually flow, then everything he's built is at risk. It's time to collect them all. Chapter 5, The Memory Nexus. Elena, if that's still her name, finds herself standing in Central Park at the exact spot where she was discovered 3 days ago. She doesn't remember walking here, doesn't remember leaving the hospital, but her feet seem to know the way. Behind her, she hears running footsteps. Marcus, out of breath, catches up to her. Elena, what are you doing? Dr. Chen is looking everywhere for you. I'm not Elena, she says without turning around. Elena is at home making dinner. Elena has never been to this park before in her life. Elena doesn't know that you've been secretly meeting with her sister Maria every Thursday for the past 6 months. Marcus stops breathing. How? Because I have her memories now. All of them. But they're mixing with other memories, other lives. She turns to face him, and he sees that her eyes are shifting between brown and silver. I remember being a child named Timothy who died in a car crash in 1987. I remember being an old woman named Rose who had Alzheimer's. I remember being Dr. Chen's mother, who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge when Sarah was 12. That's impossible. Is it? She points to a seemingly empty space between 2 oak trees. What do you see there? Marcus looks. Sees nothing but air and shadow. Nothing. I see a door, Elena says. A door that leads to the place where all the stolen memories go. And there's a little girl standing in front of it, and she's calling for her mother. As she speaks, the air shimmers and suddenly Marcus can see it too. A doorway made of light and shadow, and a 7-year-old girl with a crescent moon birthmark on her shoulder. "Emma," he whispers. The child turns and her eyes are solid silver. The butterfly woman promised she'd bring Mommy's dreams back. But the door is getting bigger. And there's something coming through from the other side. Chapter 6. The Other Side. Through the doorway, shapes move in the darkness. Not shapes, memories given form. Experiences that have learned to exist without minds to contain them. Elena steps toward the threshold. They're trapped in there. All the stolen memories. They want to come home. "Don't!" Marcus grabs her arm. "Elena, whatever you're thinking." "I'm not Elena," she says again, but gentler this time. "But I have her love for you. It's real, even if I'm not." She touches his face. The woman at home making dinner. She has Elena's body, Elena's habits, Elena's knowledge of your favorite foods. But she doesn't have Elena's memories of falling in love with you. Those are in here. She taps her temple. Mixed up with 1,000 other loves, 1,000 other losses. A new voice cuts through the air. How touching. The collector emerges from behind the trees, moving with predatory grace. In his hands are dozens of glowing vials. "You've been busy, my dear," he says to Elena. "Breaking into the Nexus, stealing memories that don't belong to you. Do you know what you are?" "A mistake," Elena says. "Your mistake." "No. Your evolution." The collector's smile is sharp as broken glass. "I've been stealing memories for 30 years, storing them, cataloging them. But I never thought to let them mix, to see what would happen if consciousness itself became fluid." He approaches Emma, who stands frozen between the worlds. This child can see the door because her mother's memories are scattered through the Nexus. Dr. Chen's thoughts, dreams, fears, all stolen, all stored, all calling out to their origin point. "Let her go," Elena says. "Let her go." The collector laughs. She's the key to everything. A mind young enough to reshape itself, connected to memories that span decades. Do you know what I could build with that kind of foundation? He uncorks one of the vials and moves toward Emma. "Just one drop, little one. You'll see butterflies everywhere. But they'll be beautiful instead of frightening." Elena moves faster than thought, tackling the collector to the ground. The vial flies through the air, shatters against a tree trunk, and releases a swirl of golden light that spirals into the doorway. The Nexus shudders. Cracks appear in the air itself. "You fool," the collector snarls. "You'll destroy everything." "Good," Elena says. Chapter 7. The Unraveling. The memory nexus is collapsing. Through the doorway, Marcus can see a vast space filled with floating lights, each one a stolen memory seeking its way home. But as the structure fails, the memories are scattering, some finding their original owners, others simply dissolving into nothing. Emma suddenly gasps, her eyes flickering from silver back to brown. "Mommy? Mommy, I can hear you thinking." 2 blocks away, Dr. Chun feels a rush of foreign emotions flooding back into her mind. Memories of Emma's first steps, first words, the smell of her baby hair. Memories she thought she'd lost forever to exhaustion and time. In the Rivera house, another Elena drops a wooden spoon and staggers backward, suddenly remembering a wedding day that feels both real and false, a love that exists in 2 places at once. The collector struggles to his feet, clutching the remaining vials. "You don't understand what you're doing. Without the Nexus, all these memories will die. Every experience I've preserved will be lost forever." "They were never yours to preserve," Elena says. She can feel herself changing, fragmenting. The stolen memories are returning to their rightful owners, leaving her increasingly hollow. But instead of fear, she feels relief. A memory without a mind to hold it isn't preservation. It's theft. "Then what are you without those memories?" the collector demands. "What's left of Elena Rivera?" Elena considers this. Already, she can feel Marcus's face becoming less familiar, their shared history fading like morning mist. But something remains, not memories, but something deeper. Love, she says simply. Love doesn't live in memory. It lives in the spaces between thoughts, in the part of us that chooses to care despite forgetting why we started. The doorway flares brighter. The collector makes one last desperate grab for Emma, but Marcus tackles him first. They struggle and more vials break against the ground, releasing decades of stolen experiences into the collapsing nexus. Chapter 8: The Return. In the end, it's Emma who closes the door. Her small hand, still bearing that crescent moon birthmark, reaches out and touches the frame of light. The doorway responds to her touch like it's been waiting for her all along. The butterfly woman says goodbye, Emma whispers, and the door collapses in on itself, taking the collector with it. He has just enough time to scream, a sound made of 1,000 stolen voices, before the nexus consumes him completely. In the sudden silence, Marcus kneels beside Elena, who lies motionless on the ground. Her breathing is shallow, her eyes closed. Elena! She opens her eyes, brown now, not silver, and looks at him with confusion. Who's Elena? His heart breaks. You are. I don't remember you. Her voice is small, lost. I don't remember anything. But then she sits up slowly, studying his face. But you look like someone I could love. You look like someone I might have loved, if I were the kind of person who knew how to love. Marcus wants to cry or scream or both. Instead, he helps her to her feet. Maybe you could learn. Maybe we both could. Emma tugs on his sleeve. The butterfly woman left something for you. She points to the ground where the doorway used to be. There's a single vial unbroken, glowing with warm golden light. The label reads, Elena Rivera, the moment she decided to trust. Marcus picks up the vial, looks at Elena. This new Elena, empty of memories but full of possibility. What is it? She asks. A choice, he says. Chapter 9. 2 weeks later. Dr. Sarah Chun watches from her office window as Marcus and Elena walk through the hospital parking lot. They come for therapy twice a week now, not couples counseling but something stranger. Learning to love someone who used to be your wife but now is someone entirely new. Elena is different, more tentative, more curious. She asks questions about everything as if seeing the world for the first time. In many ways she is. How are they doing? Dr. Chen's colleague asks, joining her at the window. She's not the same person, Sarah says. The woman Marcus married is gone forever. But this Elena, there's something remarkable about her. She's choosing to care about him day by day, moment by moment. Not because she remembers loving him, but because she decides to. And Marcus, learning that love isn't about shared history. It's about shared choice. Sarah's phone buzzes. A text from her babysitter. Emma drew a picture today. She says it's the butterfly woman teaching people how to fly. Sarah smiles. Emma's memories have fully returned, but she's kept some of the gifts from her brief connection to the nexus. An unusual empathy, an ability to see past surfaces to the truth underneath. The butterfly woman taught people how to fly by teaching them how to let go. Chapter 10. The new Elena. Elena Rivera. She's decided to keep the name, even though it feels like wearing someone else's clothes. Stands in the house on Maple Street, looking at photographs of a life she doesn't remember living. Here she is in a wedding dress, radiant with joy. Here she is laughing at some joke, Marcus's arm around her shoulders. Here she is sleeping peacefully beside a man who is now essentially a stranger. She should feel sad about the lost years, the stolen experiences. Instead, she feels free. I found your art supplies, Marcus says, entering the room with a box. Elena, the other Elena, she was a painter. I thought maybe. Elena opens the box, touches brushes that feel familiar in her hands even though she doesn't remember using them. What did she paint? Butterflies, Marcus says softly. Always butterflies. She said they reminded her that beautiful things could come from destruction. Elena picks up a brush. considers the blank canvas Marcus has set up in the corner. Maybe I'll paint something else. What? She looks at him, really looks at him. This man who chose to fight for her even when she was a stranger wearing his wife's face. This man who visits the grave of their shared past twice a week, but still comes home to build something new with her. Doors, she says. I think I'll paint doors. Ones that open instead of close. That night, as they lie in bed, still awkward, still learning each other's boundaries, Marcus asks, do you ever wonder what would have happened if you'd taken that memory? The one Emma found. Elena considers this. The vial sits unopened in their dresser drawer. The moment she decided to trust, crystallized and waiting. It could restore at least one piece of the woman she used to be. Every day, she admits. But then I think, what if the moment I decided to trust Marcus Rivera isn't as important as the moments I choose to trust him now? And she turns to face him in the darkness. I think the butterfly woman was right. Beautiful things come from destruction, but only if you're brave enough to let them. In the morning, she'll start her first painting. In the morning, Marcus will teach her to make coffee the way she likes it, though neither of them knows yet what that means. In the morning, they'll continue the careful work of building love on the ruins of love. But tonight, Elena Rivera closes her eyes and dreams of doors opening onto worlds that have never existed, where stolen memories learn to fly free, where love is something you choose rather than something you remember. The butterfly woman is there in her dreams, teaching people to let go. And for the first time in any life she can remember, Elena isn't afraid to learn. Epilogue. 6 months later. The collector's warehouse sits empty now, officially condemned by the city. But sometimes, late at night, security guards report strange lights moving through the windows. Not the harsh glow of stolen memories, but something softer, gentler. If you knew how to look, you'd see them. Fragments of experiences that escape the Nexus collapse, not returning to their original owners but learning to exist on their own. A child's first laugh echoing through empty rooms. The ghost of a first kiss dancing in dusty corners. The shadow of a wedding day spinning slowly in the moonlight. They're free now, these orphan memories. Free to be beautiful without being possessed. Free to touch the world lightly, like butterflies landing on flowers, taking nothing but giving the gift of their presence. In room 237 at St. Mary's Hospital, now just a regular room, nothing special about it, a new patient lies sleeping. A man who was found wandering downtown, carrying empty vials and speaking about doors that lead nowhere. He doesn't remember his name, but the nurses call him John. He keeps asking about butterflies, and sometimes when he thinks no one is watching, his eyes flash silver. Dr. Sarah Chun makes a note in his chart. Patient shows signs of memory fragmentation. Recommends standard treatment protocols. No visitors without supervision. She doesn't mention the way Emma's drawings have changed since John's arrival. Doesn't mention that her daughter now draws butterflies with silver wings, or that she insists they're not scary anymore. Some doors, once open, can never be fully closed. But that's not always a bad thing. Elena Rivera, painter, wife, woman learning to love without the safety net of memory, puts the finishing touches on her latest canvas. It shows a door made of light, and through it, figures are walking in both directions. Some heading toward the light, some walking away from it. All of them choosing their own direction. All of them free. Marcus finds her there as the sun sets, paint in her hair, light in her eyes. What do you call this one? He asks. Elena considers the painting, considers the life they're building day by day, choice by choice. Home, she says. And for the first time since she woke up not knowing her name, the word feels true. Part 2. The Dream Architect. Chapter 11. When Art Becomes Real. The first sign that something is wrong comes at 3:17 a.m. Dr. Sarah Chun wakes to Emma's screaming, but when she rushes to her daughter's room, Emma is still asleep. The screams are coming from the painting on the wall. A butterfly Elena painted for Emma last month. The painted butterflies are moving. Their wings beat frantically against the canvas as if trying to escape, and with each flutter, Sarah hears Emma's voice crying for help from somewhere far away. "Emma, wake up!" Sarah shakes her daughter gently. Emma's eyes snap open, not brown but that familiar silver. "Mommy, the doorwoman is calling. She says the butterfly man is coming back, but different now. Hungry for dreams instead of memories." Sarah's blood freezes. "The collector is dead, honey. Remember? He went through the door." "Not dead," Emma whispers. "Scattered. But the pieces are learning to stick together again. And he's not alone anymore." Through Emma's bedroom window, Sarah sees something impossible. In the distance, a building that shouldn't exist is growing from the ground up, constructed from light and shadow. It looks exactly like the warehouse from her nightmares, the one she's been having since the Nexus collapsed. Her phone buzzes. A text from Marcus. Elena's painting is moving. The doors are opening. Something's coming through. Chapter 12. The Gallery of Impossible Things. Marcus stands in their living room, watching Elena's latest painting transform before his eyes. What started as a simple door has become a window into someplace else. A vast space filled with floating lights and half-formed shapes that might be memories learning to dream. Elena herself sits in front of the canvas, painting frantically, but her eyes are closed. Her hand moves across the surface as if guided by something beyond conscious thought. "Elena," Marcus calls softly. "Elena, come back." She doesn't respond. Instead, she begins painting a figure in the distance of her canvas world. A man made of silver light and scattered shadows. As she paints, the figure grows more solid, more real, more familiar. "He's rebuilding himself," Elena says without opening her eyes. "But not from memories anymore. From dreams. From the spaces between sleeping and waking where thoughts have no owners." Marcus watches in horror as the painted figure turns toward them, as if sensing their observation. Its silver eyes burn with intelligence and hunger. "Elena, stop painting." "Can't stop," she whispers. "He's using me as an anchor. The paintings are doorways, and I'm the one holding them open." The painted figure steps closer to the edge of the canvas. Marcus can see its mouth moving, can almost hear words forming in the space between sound and silence. His phone rings. "Dr. Chun." "Marcus, you need to get Elena to the hospital. Now." Emma says there are others, children who were touched by the Nexus. They're all painting the same things, all dreaming the same dreams. "What things?" "Doors," Sarah says. "Thousands of doors. And something is about to walk through all of them at once." Chapter 13. The Dreaming Children. St. Mary's Hospital has become a fortress. In the children's psychiatric ward, 7 kids between the ages of 6 and 12 sit in identical poses. Eyes closed, hands moving across paper, painting the same scene over and over again. A silver figure standing in a doorway, reaching toward the waking world. Each child was touched by memories from the Nexus collapse 6 months ago. Emma Chen, Tommy Martinez, who found a broken vial in the park. Lisa Wong, who started speaking in languages she'd never learned. David Reeves, who began remembering wars he'd never lived through. All of them dreaming the same dream. All of them painting the same nightmare. Dr. Chun moves between the children taking notes, but she knows that medical science has no framework for what she's witnessing. The children aren't just creating art. They're constructing a reality. "He's almost through," Emma says without opening her eyes. Her painting shows the silver figure stepping out of a doorway, 1 foot already in the waking world. "The butterfly woman tried to warn us, but we couldn't understand. Dreams aren't the opposite of memories. They're what memories become when they're set free." "Emma, I need you to stop painting." "Can't, Mommy. None of us can stop. We're not really painting anymore. We're being painted." Dr. Chun looks at her daughter's canvas and sees something that makes her heart stop. In the background of Emma's painting, barely visible but growing clearer with each brushstroke, are more figures. Dozens of them. The stolen memories that escaped during the Nexus collapse but changed now. Evolved. They're not trying to return home anymore. They're trying to build a new home in the spaces between sleeping and waking. And they're using the children as architects. Chapter 14. The Thing That Used to Be. In the space between dreams and waking, the collector has learned to think without a brain. He drifts through the consciousness of sleeping minds like smoke through water, tasting dreams instead of stealing memories. It's a subtler hunger now, more refined. Dreams, he's discovered, are more nourishing than memories because they carry the flavor of possibility rather than the weight of what already was. Through the children's paintings, he can touch the waking world, but only briefly. He needs something more substantial, an anchor made of flesh and thought and choice. He needs Elena Rivera, who chose love without memory. Elena who paints doors that actually open. Elena who carries within her the unique ability to exist between states of being. Through Emma's dreams he whispers, "Bring her to me." Through Tommy's paintbrush he draws, a door that leads home. Through Lisa's sleeping mind he calls, "I can give her back everything she lost." The children paint faster now, their movements synchronized, their canvases showing the same scene from different angles. Elena walking through a door of light, stepping into a place where memories and dreams interweave like threads in an infinite tapestry. In each painting she's smiling. In each painting her eyes are silver. In each painting she's no longer Elena Rivera but something new. The dream architect. The one who will build bridges between the world of memory and the realm of possibility. The collector has learned patience in his scattered state. He no longer steals, he seduces. He no longer takes by force, he offers gifts that seem too beautiful to refuse. And Elena, who paints doors for a living, is already walking toward the one he's made especially for her. Chapter 15. The Seduction. Elena stands in the hospital corridor, looking through the window at the dreaming children. Her latest painting is tucked under her arm. A canvas she doesn't remember creating, showing a room filled with golden light where all the memories she lost are waiting patiently for her return. "You shouldn't be here," Dr. Chun says, approaching carefully. "The children called me," Elena replies. "Not with words. With dreams. They're painting my story, Sarah. The story of who I used to be. That person is gone, Elena. You chose to let her go. But what if I was wrong?" Elena's voice carries a longing that cuts through the air like a blade. What if love built on choice isn't as strong as love built on shared experience? Marcus tries so hard, but I see it in his eyes sometimes. He's mourning the woman I used to be. Dr. Chan steps closer. "Elena, listen to me. The thing calling you isn't offering you memories. It's offering you dreams of memories. False experiences that feel real but have no substance. It's trying to seduce you into becoming something else. Something that exists only to serve its hunger. How do you know? Because Emma can see it. The real it. Not the silver-eyed tempter in your paintings, but what it actually is now, a wound in reality that feeds on the space between sleeping and waking. It doesn't want to give you anything, Elena. It wants to become you." Elena looks at her painting again. In the golden light, she can see herself embracing Marcus, their wedding day restored, their love unbroken by trauma and loss. It looks so real, so possible. "What if I could be both?" she whispers. "The woman I am now and the woman I was before? Then you'd be neither," Dr. Chan says. And Elena Rivera, both versions of her, would truly be gone forever. Through the window, Emma opens her eyes and looks directly at Elena. Her mouth moves silently, but Elena hears the words clearly. The door is beautiful, but it only opens one way. Chapter 16. The Choice. Marcus finds Elena in the hospital chapel, sitting in the front pew, staring at the stained glass windows that throw colored light across her face. "The children stopped painting," he says, sitting beside her. "I know. They're waiting for me to choose." And what are you going to choose? Elena is quiet for a long moment. Do you know what I remember most clearly from the Nexus collapse? What? Not Elena's memories or anyone else's memories. I remember the moment I decided to trust you. Not because I remembered loving you, but because something in your voice made me want to learn how. She turns to face him. That choice felt more real than any memory I've ever stolen or been given. Then why are you even considering this? Because I'm afraid, she admits. I'm afraid that choice isn't enough. That love without history is just elaborate pretending. That you'll wake up one day and realize you're living with a stranger. Marcus takes her hand. Elena, I wake up every day and choose to love a stranger. And every day she becomes a little less strange and a little more. You. Not the old you, but this you. The you who paints doors instead of butterflies. The you who asks questions about everything. The you who tastes coffee like she's discovering flavor for the first time. But don't you miss her? The Elena who knew your history. I miss the safety of that, Marcus says honestly. I miss the comfort of shared experiences. But I don't miss her, because you're not her replacement. You're her continuation. You're what she became when she was brave enough to start over. Elena looks at her painting, the door of golden light, the promise of recovered memories. What if I'm making the wrong choice? Then we'll make different choices tomorrow. That's what love is, Elena. Not a single decision, but the decision to keep deciding. From the children's ward comes a sound like glass breaking. Through the chapel windows, the impossible building in the distance begins to collapse. Its foundation of dreams and stolen thoughts crumbling without Elena's participation. She stands, walks to the front of the chapel, and sets her painting on the altar. I need you to destroy this. Are you sure? Elena strikes a match from the votive candles. The butterfly woman taught people to fly by teaching them to let go. Maybe it's time I learned that lesson completely. The painting catches fire, and for a moment they can hear screaming. Not human screams, but the sound of possibility itself dying. The golden room full of recovered memories burns away, leaving nothing but ash and the choice to build something new. In the children's ward, 7 young artists open their eyes and begin painting different pictures. Doors that close, butterflies learning to fly, memories choosing to stay where they belong. Chapter 17. The Architect's New Blueprint. 3 months later, Elena's art show opens at the downtown gallery where the original Elena once worked. The exhibition is called Doors, a study in becoming, and every painting shows the same subject from a different angle. Doorways that lead not to other places, but to other possibilities. Dr. Chan stands before a canvas titled The Choice to Trust, and finds herself moved nearly to tears. The painting shows 2 figures standing at a threshold, not crossing it, but building something new right where they stand. She's remarkable, says the gallery owner, joining Sarah. I knew Elena before the incident. She was technically proficient but safe. These new works, there's something raw about them. Honest. Like she's painting with emotions that haven't learned to hide yet. Across the room, Marcus watches Elena talk with visitors, explaining her process. She moves differently now than she did 6 months ago. More deliberately, as if each gesture is a choice rather than a habit. It makes her more beautiful, not less. Daddy, look. Emma tugs on Marcus's sleeve, pointing to a painting he hasn't seen before. The butterfly woman made one more picture. The canvas shows a figure walking away from a door of light, choosing the uncertain path of the present over the golden illusion of recovered past. The figure's face is turned away, but her posture speaks of determination rather than loss. The title card reads, Self-Portrait as Elena Rivera. Is that really Elena? Emma asks. Marcus looks across the room at his wife, this woman who chose to love him without the safety net of shared history, who builds their relationship new each day with the careful attention of an architect drawing blueprints. Yes, he says. That's Elena. Chapter 18, The New Collector. In the psychiatric ward of St. Mary's Hospital, the patient who calls himself John sits by his window, watching the gallery's opening reception through glass and distance. His memories are still fragmented, but they're knitting themselves back together in new patterns. He no longer remembers being the collector. That identity burned away when Elena chose reality over dream. But he remembers the hunger for connection, for belonging, for the touch of minds that truly know each other. It's a different kind of hunger now, not parasitic but symbiotic. He's learning to give rather than take, to create rather than steal. Dr. Chun visits him twice a week for therapy sessions that are really negotiations with possibility itself. "Do you remember your name today?" she asks during their latest session. "Names are temporary," John says. "But I remember why I wanted Elena's choice so badly. It wasn't the memories or the dreams. It was the ability to choose love without certainty, to build something real on the foundation of maybe. And do you still want that?" John looks out the window at the gallery, at the people moving through Elena's exhibition of choices made visible. "I want to learn it," he says. "Not steal it or borrow it or dream it. Learn it. The way a child learns to paint by starting with simple shapes and working toward complexity." Dr. Chun makes a note in his file. "What would you like to start with?" "A name," John says. "A real one. One that I choose instead of one that chooses me." "What name?" He's quiet for a long moment, thinking. Outside, the gallery's lights warm the street, and people emerge from Elena's exhibition changed in small ways, carrying new thoughts about choice and change and the courage required for both. "Gabriel," he says finally. "I'd like to be Gabriel, the one who brings messages, who announces new possibilities." Dr. Chun writes Gabriel at the top of a fresh page. "Hello, Gabriel. Let's begin." Chapter 19, Messages from Tomorrow. 6 months after choosing to remain Elena Rivera, the painter finds herself standing in the same spot in Central Park where she was discovered over a year ago. But this time she's not lost. She's looking for something. Emma Chun, now 8 years old and wise in ways that concern and comfort her mother in equal measure, stands beside Elena with a sketch pad and colored pencils. "Do you see it?" Emma asks. Elena looks at the space between the oak trees where the door to the memory nexus once stood. She sees nothing but air and late afternoon sunlight. "What am I supposed to see?" "The new door," Emma says, and begins sketching. Not one that leads backward to stolen memories, but forward to dreams that haven't been dreamed yet. As Emma draws, the air begins to shimmer. Not with the harsh light of the old nexus, but with something softer, possibility itself made visible. "Gabriel told me about it," Emma continues. "He says the nexus collapse didn't just return stolen memories. It opened up new spaces. Places where thoughts can grow without being owned by anyone." Elena watches Emma's sketch take shape. A doorway made of light and choice, leading not to another place but to another time. A future where the boundaries between dreaming and waking are less rigid, where consciousness itself is more fluid. "Should I be worried?" Elena asks. Emma looks up from her drawing. The butterfly woman says not to be afraid of doors that lead forward, only the ones that lead backward. "The butterfly woman told you that?" "Not told. Painted. In your dreams. You've been sleep painting again, Elena. Did you know that?" Elena's blood chills. She's been waking up with paint under her fingernails, but she assumed it was from her daytime work. "What have I been painting?" Emma shows her the sketch pad. The drawing is nearly complete now. A door that pulses with gentle light, and through it, glimpses of a world where memory and dream work together instead of in opposition. "Instructions," Emma says, "for the people who will come after us. The ones who will learn to swim in the spaces between thoughts instead of drowning in them." "Emma, I need you to promise me something. If I start sleep painting again, if I start becoming something other than Elena Rivera, I need you to wake me up. No matter what I'm painting, no matter how beautiful it looks." Emma considers this seriously. What if the paintings are trying to teach us something important? Then we'll learn it while awake, Elena says. We'll choose to learn it. That's the difference between wisdom and seduction choice. Emma nods and closes her sketchpad. The shimmer in the air fades but doesn't disappear entirely. It settles into the space between the trees like a bookmark in reality, marking a place they might return to when they're ready. Walking home, Elena realizes that the hunger never fully goes away. The desire to be more than human, to touch the infinite spaces between thoughts. But she's learned to feed it with choice instead of theft, with creation instead of consumption. Behind them, invisible but not gone, the door Emma sketched continues to pulse with gentle light, waiting for dreamers brave enough to build the future instead of stealing the past. Chapter 20. The exhibition's end. The last visitor leaves Elena's art show at exactly midnight. Marcus helps her wrap the unsold paintings, though there are only 3 left. The response has been overwhelming, not just because of the technical skill, but because of something harder to quantify. The paintings make people feel possible. There's someone here to see you, the gallery owner says, approaching them nervously. He says his name is Gabriel, and that you're expecting him. Elena and Marcus exchange glances. They're not expecting anyone. But the name sends a chill through both of them. Gabriel enters the gallery slowly, as if every step requires careful consideration. He's changed since his days as the patient called John. Still pale, still thin, but his eyes are clear now. Human. No trace of silver. "Hello, Elena," he says. "Thank you for not destroying me completely." "I didn't know I had a choice," Elena replies carefully. "You did. When you burned that painting 6 months ago, you could have let the fire consume everything I was becoming. Instead, you let it burn away only the parts that were poison. The hunger. The need to possess rather than appreciate." Gabriel moves through the exhibition slowly, studying each painting. "You've been teaching people to choose," he observes. "To build rather than steal. To create rather than consume." "I've been teaching myself," Elena corrects. "The paintings are just practice." "Practice for what?" Elena looks at the 3 remaining canvases, the ones no one wanted to buy because they're too strange, too unsettling. They show the same subject. Doorways that lead not backward or forward but sideways. Into possibilities that exist adjacent to reality. "I don't know yet," she admits. "But Emma's been having dreams. And I've been sleep painting again. And I think there are others like us. People who were touched by what happened, who are learning to exist in the spaces between normal and impossible." Gabriel nods slowly. "The children who painted with Emma, they're not the only ones. There are others. Adults who found fragments of the nexus. Elderly people who stumbled into leaked dreams. Artists and writers and musicians who discovered that the boundaries between imagination and reality are more porous than anyone suspected." "What are you suggesting?" "Nothing," Gabriel says. "I'm not the collector anymore. I don't take or manipulate or seduce. But I am still a messenger, and the message is this. What happened to us? The memory theft, the dream seduction, the choice to remain human despite the temptation to become something else. It's spreading." He approaches the 3 unsold paintings. "These doorways you've painted, they're not metaphors, are they?" Elena's mouth goes dry. "I don't know. May I?" Gabriel reaches toward one of the canvases, not touching it but holding his hand close to the surface. The painted doorway begins to glow faintly. "Yes, I thought so. You're not just painting doors anymore, Elena. You're building them." Marcus steps protectively closer to Elena. "Building them for what?" "For the people who will need them," Gabriel says. "The ones who are learning to exist between states of being. The memory-touched, the dreamwalkers, the choice-makers. We're not abnormal, we're adaptive. We're what humanity becomes when the boundaries between mind and reality grow thin." Elena stares at her paintings, seeing them with new understanding. You're talking about evolution. I'm talking about necessity, Gabriel corrects. The world is changing, Elena. Dreams are becoming more real, memories more fluid, choices more consequential. People will need guides, teachers, architects of possibility. And you think I should be one of them? Gabriel smiles, the first genuine expression Elena has seen from him. I think you already are. The question is, are you ready to stop practicing and start building for real? Elena looks at Marcus, sees the fear and love warring in his face, looks at the paintings that pulse with their own light, thinks about Emma's dreams and her own sleep painting and the doorway that still waits in Central Park. What would it mean, she asks, to stop practicing? It would mean teaching others what you've learned. It would mean opening doors instead of just painting them. It would mean accepting that Elena Rivera isn't the end of your story. She's the beginning of something larger. The gallery falls silent except for the soft hum of the paintings themselves. 3 doorways that lead sideways into possibilities that don't quite exist yet. Elena Rivera, memory thief turned dream architect, stands at her own threshold and prepares to choose. Epilogue. The School for Impossible Things. 1 year later. The building appears on no official city maps, but everyone knows where to find it. It stands where the collector's warehouse used to be, constructed not from concrete and steel but from choice and possibility itself. Elena Rivera teaches the introductory course, Navigating Identity When Memory Fails. Her students are people like herself, those who have lost pieces of themselves and learn to build new identities from conscious choice rather than unconscious habit. Dr. Sarah Chun runs the research division, studying the neurology of fluid consciousness. Emma, now 9, serves as translator between the children's intuitive understanding and the adults' need for categories and explanations. Gabriel teaches advanced classes, the ethics of mental architecture, and building bridges between dream and reality. His students learn to create without consuming, to inspire without manipulating. Marcus runs the practical division, helping families navigate what happens when a loved one becomes someone fundamentally new, while still being recognizably themselves. His first students were the spouses and children of Elena's fellow survivors, but word has spread. The school has no official name. The students simply call it the place where you learn to choose who you become. Today, Elena stands in front of a new class, 12 people who survive various forms of memory trauma and are learning to construct identity from intention rather than history. Behind her, a painting shows a door opening onto a landscape that has never existed but might someday. The first thing you need to understand, she tells them, is that you are not broken. You are not less than who you were before. You are adapted to a world where the self is more fluid than most people realize. She gestures to the painting. The door in this picture doesn't lead backward to who you used to be, or forward to who you might become. It leads sideways to who you choose to be right now, in this moment, with full knowledge that choice is the only permanent thing about identity. A student raises her hand. But what if we make the wrong choice? Elena smiles, thinking of all the wrong choices that led her to this right moment. Then tomorrow you'll have the chance to choose again. That's the gift of fluid identity. It's never too late to become someone worth being. Through the classroom windows, Central Park is visible in the distance. Sometimes, on clear days, you can see the shimmer between the oak trees where the memory nexus once stood. It's not gone, it's transformed. Instead of stealing experiences, it now serves as a reminder that the boundaries between self and other, between memory and dream, between what was and what could be, are more negotiable than anyone imagined. Elena Rivera, formerly the woman with no name, currently the architect of impossible schools, potentially the teacher of humanity's next evolutionary step, turns back to her students and begins the day's lesson: how to paint doors that actually open. In the back of the room, Gabriel takes notes, not for himself but for the others who will come after. The ones who will need these lessons when the world becomes even stranger than it already is. The butterfly woman Elena realizes was right about many things. Beautiful transformations do come from destruction. But the most important lesson was the one Elena learned on her own. Sometimes the most radical act is not to become something new, but to choose again and again to become more fully yourself. Even when you have to invent what yourself means from scratch.